Okay, so here's what I want to talk about, and I'm recording this for YouTube later. So I did just watch the first episode of the Halo series on Paramount Plus, and I am a huge Halo fan, just like Frank says. It's true. I love the Halo games. I've been playing them since the original in 2001. As a series, it's one of my top 3 series of all time for sure. No doubt, I'm a big Halo fan. I've been looking forward to this series for a long time, for several reasons. This is like a decade in the making. This was like, you know, shopped around, started, stopped, canceled. It's finally been made. It's on Paramount Plus. You can get 30 free days of Paramount Plus if you have Xbox Game Pass right now, by the way, to check out the start of the series. You guys know I like Halo Infinite, but I've also been critical of what I've seen from these trailers from this series. I haven't liked a lot of what the showrunner has said about video game stories and not referencing the games. This is, you know, kind of like an alternate universe, an alternate timeline. It's not Halo canon, it's a new take, which is fine, and I'll get into that in my full review and thoughts of the first episode here. But I have been critical. But now I can, of the trailers, and I've called out a bunch of weird things that I didn't like, but now I've seen a whole episode, and I want to tell you how I feel. So overall, it's definitely something that I can keep watching. It's, in motion, at least as a whole, as a finished product, it's definitely better than the trailers. Like no doubt about that. When you only see bits and pieces in a trailer, and that's all you have to go by, it's easy to pick out little things and be like, oh, I don't like this doesn't make any sense. But when you watch it as a put together show, it's a lot easier to overlook those things. I feel like they at least, it feels like a television show, basically. It feels like a digestible piece of entertainment. And here's what I think about it. The action scenes in the beginning, I thought it was pretty decent. I thought it was pretty decent. I do think some of the action looks odd. The elites kind of look kind of funny. The Spartans in action at times do look weird. The CG looks a little janky. Like the one Spartan comes flying down and lands on her knee. She's got a sniper rifle. Like it looks like it's out of a video game, and not like in a great way, not like in a homage to the games. It just looks, in a live action series, it looks kind of weird. But for the most part, I thought the opening action scene was pretty good, and it was a lot more violent than I expected, and I'm not complaining about that. I do think this show does a good job of showing how, especially by the books, if you read the books do a really good job of playing up just how dangerous the Covenant and their weapons and technology are, and I think this show does a good job of that, even in a way that the games can't, for balance reasons. You know, you see plasma rifles just like blowing things to bits, and that's basically how it's described in the books. In the books, like, Master Chief gets hit with like one bolt of plasma and it's like a big deal. You know, in the games that can't happen. So I think that they do a good job of demonstrating, you know, how much of a behemoth the Covenant are and how much of a threat to humanity that they are in this first episode, in this opening action scene. We still don't know how much they're going to get into as far as explaining the Covenant's actions, why they're coming after humanity and such. The storyline, I really don't know where it's gonna go. I really don't know. But they've got this object, which is obviously a Forerunner object of some kind, and we know what the Forerunner and human interactions are based on the canon, but this isn't the canon. So I don't know. They seem to be hinting that Master Chief interacting with this object has already enhanced his abilities, and he's getting, I'm gonna have spoilers in this review. He's getting memories from his childhood, which he seems to not be aware of. I do think the characterization of Master Chief is not bad. It is a bit odd. They're definitely playing up this generic sci-fi element of, you know, like, oh, the super soldier's just mindless and he's gonna kind of like get his or her, you know, memories back, and they're gonna start making decisions for themselves, and they're gonna help change the tide of you know, the USNC doing questionable things. Most likely he's already kind of gone rogue in the first episode. Well, not even kind of, I would say definitely. I do think that seems a bit fast for them to be doing something like that. Master Chief has had moments where he's kind of defied orders and stuff throughout the franchise, but it's not like full-fledged like this. I think they did this to try to demonstrate, you know, lining up hundreds of Marines to try to, you know, to be there to try to stop him, to show how dangerous and powerful the Spartans are, which I get it. I just think it's a little odd to introduce that right off the bat. They could have showed him kind of defying orders and demonstrated that in a different way. I think like he could have just brought the girl back and just been like, we're not doing this. You know, I refuse to do this. But they did it in a little bit of a weird way, I thought. As a whole, the way the show looks in general, except for those weird action scenes, I do think it looks pretty decent. The Prophets, I thought, actually looked better than I expected based on the screenshots and motion. They do look better. The one Prophet they show, I really have no idea what they have going on, and I'm a little scared about where this part is going. They've got this human female villain who's working with the Covenant, and not only does she seem to be working with the Covenant, she seems to be like really high up in the Covenant. Like the Prophets almost seem like they're taking orders from her. I kind of have a feeling that like they may do some stupid crap where she finds out she's been misled, you know, by the Prophets and the Covenant, and you know, that kind of thing. She'll be a villain, but then she'll be questioning what the Covenant have taught her about humanity, because you know, she's probably gonna find out, oh, humans aren't what I thought they were. I really don't know about that storyline. I'll be open to it, but it looks like something out of Star Wars. Like her outfit and it's just a little, I'm not so sure about it. It doesn't, like, her outfit doesn't look bad. It just looks like it belongs in Mass Effect or Star Wars or something, and not really the Halo universe. But that said, I do think I'm probably saying a lot. I'm critiquing a lot more than I'm saying that I liked it. I mean, overall, I enjoyed it. I have critiques for sure, but I definitely watched it and felt like, yes, I can watch this series as a Halo fan. I'm interested to see where it goes. I hope they do well with it. I do think they're doing a little bit of the generic kind of like sci-fi TV show, cable TV show, like, you know, the Admiral just giving like point blank cold orders for seemingly no reason. You know, she doesn't like Halsey, and I know Halsey's always had a questionable relationship with the USNC, but you know, she doesn't like Halsey. She wants to kill the girl that they you know, save, and then she wants to just, you know, kill the Master Chief if they have to. He's not listening to orders, and they show all these, like, it's a little bit ridiculous, I think, the levels that they go to, that they've been, you know, controlling the Spartans. Like, okay, we can see everything. Like, he takes off his helmet, they freak out, you know, like, oh my god, he's taking off his helmet, like, we can't have this. The USNC freaks out about that, and then you know, we cut the cameras in the ship, they freak out about that, and, you know, he restored the oxygen because they were basically trying to suffocate. It just shows a little bit too much, I think, that they're like micromanaging the Spartans, you know. And I know that's part of it. Part of it has always been, are they blunt instruments, or, you know, that's always been there. But I think they overplayed that hand a little bit in the first episode. It's only the first episode, and I feel like they you know, they threw every single theme that runs through the Halo franchise in one fell swoop. But sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't. And there was some silly stuff in there, like, you know, what is the girl's name? I might review every single episode every week, Frank. That's a good idea. But when he's trying to save his daughter, because like the last surviving elite is like running towards her, or is walking towards her, and he has a gun and he's shooting at the elite, but instead of like keeping his distance and like shooting and distracting, he runs straight at it and just eats the sword. And it's like, I know you could argue that, you know, it was a fatherly instinct, or, yeah, but this is a general. This is a seasoned soldier. Feels like he wouldn't have just kind of thrown his life away. It's a little silly. He had to run in there and die. It seems like it happens just for the show's sake, you know, but that not very smart, but you know, they did it anyways. So I mean, overall, like the weapons that the Spartans used and stuff looked great. Like when they were killing the elites, you know, shooting them in the face with the pistols, the AR, the BR, the sniper rifle. The Spartans, I actually think, not necessarily in the action, but their armor, the way they look in general, I think is good. I do like it. They look distinct. They look strong. They look dangerous. They look like freaking super soldiers. I think they did do good with that. I'm not sure about, like, we'll see where it goes. You know, we never really learned anything about the dynamic between like Captain Keyes and Miranda Keyes in the games. There might be some stuff in the books. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've read them. But they seem to definitely be making that a more central storyline. You know, the Keyes, Captain Keyes, and then Miranda Keyes. Miranda has some science background in this one. This kind of seems to be a rival to Dr. Halsey, which is, we'll see where that goes. I mean, overall, I think there's definitely enough. There's definitely enough where to keep me watching. You know, like, it is a Halo series, and to answer your question, Frank, do I think it will have attracted anyone? I do hear a lot of people talking about this show, and I do think as long as the quality is consistent and it doesn't take an absolute nosedive, as long as it ends up being decent when the full season's done, and we already know that there's a second season that's been signed on, like it's official 100%. I do think it's a net positive for Halo. I do hear a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people, good or bad. I think a lot of people are talking about it. I've seen a ton of marketing for it, so I do think it's going to get the Halo name out there, which is a net positive for the Halo franchise. I'm not saying it's, you know, this is not Arcane, you know, putting League of Legends on the map, even to non-gamers, I think. And Arcane's a show that, you know, even if you don't like animated shows, you could watch Arcane and be like, this is amazing. You know, I don't think you have to be vaguely interested in sci-fi already, right? And like, you know, that kind of thing, action, to watch this show, I think. But I do think it's going to end up being positive. Non-Spartans are unable to kill anything. Yeah, I do see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying. You know, they were using like AK-47s. The weapons are technically different, but the elite's power shields definitely should have faded, so to speak, against if it's the same, at least the same style weaponry. You're right. I mean, in fairness, the Spartans most of the time killed the elites with like up close face headshots and stuff. But I'm interested, and they only showed us elites too. Interestingly enough, they didn't show us grunts, jackals. I assume brutes will come later. I'm assuming, maybe not even this season. They showed us prophets. We didn't see hunters at all, but we did see the Lekgolo worms in one of the two of the trailers, I think. So you know, are we gonna see the flood in this? I didn't even think about that. Like, maybe they tease the flood at the end of the season. Maybe that's I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. The fact that there's a Halo TV show alone, you know, there's a ton of lore in this franchise. There's books. This universe is super deep. There's the Forerunners, the Precursors, the Covenant, the Humans, the Endless, which I'm sure will not have anything to do with this show. I mean, there's just so much. There's the Oni versus the Rebel, you know, kind of storyline. I kind of hope they don't do too much of that, but it really seems like in the first episode they certainly made it front center. But we will see. Overall I saw enough to keep me watching, and I'm not like flat out disappointed, and as a fan I am not upset or really offended. You know, like I saw what I saw was okay, and I have plenty of complaints about it and critiques, things that I wouldn't have done, but for the most part there was enough there to keep me watching. I guess that's my review. If I had to review it in 60 seconds, If I had to review the debut of the Halo show in 60 seconds, this is what I would say. The Spartans are awesome. They did a great job showing how strong they are. I'm a little sad we didn't get Halo music anywhere in it, like literally nowhere. I hope they use Halo music. The action scenes were pretty good. I like the level of action and violence. Some of it did look wonky, but I'm looking forward to seeing more of the Spartans fighting. And there's enough to keep me watching. I'm not blown away. I'm not offended. As a Halo fan, I'm gonna keep watching and I'm hoping for the best.